This is a Dasny D30 LED video light. I was sent this to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, it would cost you $50. All right, so in the box, we have the LED light here. It has a battery option. There's no battery included, but you can use a Sony style NP-F whatever battery to snap into here. It comes with a power adapter, which is a DC 12 volt power adapter. This light is rated at 20 watts. It has an on-off switch, and you can dim it or you can change the color temperature with this spinning dial. It has a cold shoe here, so if you have a larger camera you're willing to put such a large light on top of, you can fill it into the cold shoe, and it has the 1/4x20 socket here that you can plug into like a light stand. Now this guy has barn doors as an option on the front here, and so typically with a light like this you just want the light to go everywhere, but if for some reason you want to block it from one side or from the top, you can fold these in and kind of block most of the light in a particular direction. So it does have these barn doors, and they're basically little, plastic panels or flexible plastic, and they have these hinges on them. It looks like they might snap out of these holders here, so if you don't want the barn doors, it looks like you could snap them off and take them off here. So let's plug this in and put it through its paces. So first we're going to test the battery powered operation. I am providing my own NP-F style battery here. To turn it on, you push and hold this button here and it turns on. If you tap it again, it adjusts color temperature, so we can go from a very warm white to a very cool white. And basically it goes through this range in just maybe a half a turn of the dial here. So it's, you have a wide range, but there seems to be definite steps there. It's not a super, it's not a nice ramp. It's very much every time you click this dial, it changes the color temperature in a step here. So it's a reasonable range, but it's not super, you can't super dial into an exact color temperature. I imagine that's kind of percentile changes between the warm white and the cool white LEDs here. Now if you tap the button again, it'll go to brightness, and you can get it down to a very dim light there. It's not even reflecting off the table at this matter, and then it goes up to that like this. So that's operating on the battery. I'm going to go and plug it in. We'll check the wattage draw. Alright, I've set the color kind of halfway between warm white and cool white so that the kind of orangish and the cool white LEDs are both lit up about the same intensity by eye. I've turned the brightness all the way up, and this guy is drawing 28.327 watts. So the manual says the output power is 20 watts, and so if the input power is 27 watts, I think I believe them there that this guy's probably putting out 20 watts worth of light. Now I've switched over to battery power, and to my eye this light is putting out the same amount of power powered off of the battery as it does on the AC adapter. So there doesn't appear to be an advantage of using the AC adapter other than not running a battery down. Now if you're thinking this case style and control knob look familiar, it's probably because there's another brand that looks basically exactly the same, with the exception that the side of the case doesn't have these little notches for the barn doors. But everything else about these two lights appears to be exactly the same. So it appears there might be a factory somewhere that's, selling these, and people are putting their labels on them. So you will have to provide your own light stand, but I've found that even with the battery on it here, it's plenty light enough for this light stand to have no real problem. It stops wiggling after just a couple seconds of letting it go. It does have this little knob here, which is your angle adjustment. So you have that level of angle adjustment with that knob, and then rotational adjustment, you have to turn the light stand. I'm going to try to demo the barn doors here. So we have this light on the wall. I can move that out, can move this up, and it does block some of the light. Move this over here, move this down. So someone has put some level of thought into the hinges on the barn door here. I say that just because the two side barn doors, those hinges are just slightly lower. And so in that way, you can basically fold these in first and they sit lower than these guys sit. And so these guys are definitely designed to fold in after the inside on the sides there, because these hinges are just a little bit longer. All right, let's see if these guys can be removed easily or not. It looks like they just snap in, and if you push them down enough, you could snap them back out. So I am pushing down with a thin screwdriver here and trying to push them out, but they are not easily popping out. So this may be a one-time operation at the factory that's extremely hard to undo. And obviously you could unscrew these little screws here and leave the hinges on, but I think if you want to take the flaps off for the barn door flaps, you definitely want to probably just take these bits here out. There we go. So a combination of pulling with one hand and pushing down with the other hand will remove the barn door flaps from the light. You still have the hinge brackets there, but they're pretty small. So if you don't like the barn door flaps, you could take them off. Okay, so in general, this is a LED panel light. There are many like them. This particular one has these little barn door flaps. So if you're looking for the barn door flaps, that might be a distinguishing characteristic here. Takes a Sony style NPF battery, or it can use the included 12-volt adapter, 1/4 by 20 mount, and a cold shoe on the bottom. That's what you're getting.